All right, so the first thing we're going to do is work on our page layouts and just get everything set up the way we want, and then we can move on to functionality. So starting with a fresh project here, and I'm going to drag a blank page into my canvas, and I'll call this one Portfolio Home. Okay. And let's drag another page in, and this will be for my collection row, and I'll explain in a minute what this will be used for. And one more, and I'll call this one asset row. All right, so let me just get these tidied up a little. Cool. All right, so we have 3 pages right now. So what I'm going to do is on the home page, this will list all of our collections. So there'll be a grid list on this page, and each row will be a specific collection. So this is our collection row page. And for each collection, you'll be able to click on it and then load a grid list of assets. So we have an asset row page that will be for our individual assets. So home page will show the whole portfolio. Collection page will show just one collection. Asset row will show just one asset. So let's do some layout here. So I'm going to add just a div to my home page, and I'll just call this div MetaMask. And this is going to be where I handle my MetaMask connecting and loading and all of that. So I'll just put some padding in here. Let's add a button to this div, and on this button, let me zoom in a little so you can see this. This button, I'll call it, let's use my little fox emoji. I'll call it Connect to MetaMask. Actually, I put that in the name. I need to put that in the button text. There we go. All right, Connect to MetaMask will be the name of our button. I want some status text that shows what is happening with the API call to MetaMask. So let's do a header right above it. And this will, by default, just say connect your wallet to see your portfolio. A little instruction message to start, and we'll make this H3. All right. Now, because this is going to be in a Chrome extension, and I know I want it to be on the side, I'm going to set my page width so that as I'm working in the studio, I can imagine what this is going to look like for the user. So I'm going to click the menu up here at the top of my page, and I'll change the width to 400. And I'm just going to go ahead and do that on all my pages now so I don't forget. So my collection row, 400, and my asset row. All right, that's good. So now we've got a message, connect your wallet to see your portfolio. We've got a button for connecting. Next, I want to have my grid list. So I'm going to grab a grid list and drop it into my page. There we go. I want it to be at the bottom. And this grid list, as I mentioned, is going to be for collections, and it's going to load each of these rows. So what I'm going to do on this grid list is I'm going to select my row page over here on the right, and I'll set my row page to collection row. So that will make this collection page what gets loaded for each row. Now I'm going to set up my collection row page and lay that out the way that I want. And what I want for each collection is I want to show a banner image that I'll load from OpenSea, and then I want to show the collection name and the floor price. So I'm going to drag in an image right here. I'm going to set some styling, and let's just set the height to 50 pixels, something small. I'm going to add a div that will be for collection info. And in here I'll have a couple of heading texts. So this first one, we'll call this one collection name. The second one will be floor price. These will be like H4, let's call it. And let me think about what I want to do here. This one I also want to make a H4, and I'm going to set this outer div to flex and space between. So that'll just set our text to the outer edges of this div, and then I'm going to add a little bit of padding. So let's set this to like 10 pixels. There we go. And actually I only want 10 pixels on the side. Let's do that. All right. All right, so there we go. We'll have our header image, our collection name, and our floor price for each collection. And what I want to do, when you click on a collection, I want to load all the assets in that collection. So I'm going to add one more div around all of this, and I'm going to call this div collection. I'm going to drop my image and my collection info onto it. Then I'm going to add another div for assets. And so the collection will be on top, assets will be on the bottom. And in this div, we're going to have a grid list. And for this grid list, again, this is a list of assets. So my row page up here is going to be my asset row, which is this page. So now let's move over to our asset row and start styling this. Again, I'll drop in a div, and I'll call this asset info. And for each row, I kind of want to have two sides. So on the left side, I want to have my asset information, which will have the image and the name of the asset. And then on the right-hand side, I want to have the last price, meaning the price that you bought the asset at. That way, we'll be able to see what the price is in comparison to the floor price for the collection. And we'll be able to show you if you're above or below the floor. So let's add a couple divs in here. So I'll call this div left. And one more. We'll call this one div right. And on the left side, let's add an image for our asset image. And we'll set the size of this to maybe a 50 by 50. And we also want to add a heading for the name. And this will be asset name. set this to like an H4. And I want these to be next to each other. So on this div, I will set the layout to flex. I want a little bit of padding between them. So on my asset name, I'm just going to use a margin left of 20 pixels, let's say. And then back on this div, I want to set flex direction. Actually, I don't want to justify. I want to align center. There we go. So that's on my left side. On the right, I want to have just some heading text, and this will be last price. Again, that'll be an H4. And in this outer div for my asset info, I'm going to do flex and space between so that these two divs are set to the outer edges. And I have my asset info on the left, my price info on the right. And again, I'll add some padding on both sides. We'll just do 10 pixels for now. There we go. All right. So now you can see we've got our 3 pages. Our home page is going to load our collections. And each collection, when you click on it, will display all the assets that are in that collection. So that's it for our starter layout. That's really all we need to get started. In the next lesson, we'll move on to adding our functionality.